Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I just got back from a jog and something popped in my head that I do not believe, it's possible, but I do not believe that I have ever covered what may be the most important topic that I ever cover, and it's as it relates to my being a financial advisor. I've told you that I was a financial advisor back in the day with a top 3 Wall Street firm, but I've never covered this particular topic, I don't believe. I'm asked all the time, oh, well, how can you be so sure about XRP and digital assets and all this? I'm asked this all the time. And again, before I begin, I want to tell you again, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not a financial advisor now. I am the digital asset investor, and this is for entertainment purposes only. But I want to explain to you something, and you can go read it for yourself. Right now, we're looking at the TD Ameritrade page. This does not just go for TD Ameritrade. I'm not picking on them. This is all brokerage firms, okay? And what you're looking at is their IPO page. And many of you are young out there, and so you may not even know what that is. An IPO is called, it stands for Initial Public Offering. So taking Facebook, which is the most common example, I hear people talk about Facebook every day, it seems like. But using Facebook as an example, when they're ready to go public and try to raise money for, the companies raise money for various reasons, but typically companies when they're ready, they will get with underwriting firms. It could be a TD Ameritrade. Usually it's big ones like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch, and companies like that. They do the very large IPOs like Facebook, and they take companies like Facebook public. Well, here's the part that you should understand, and this is what is so important about digital assets and how revolutionary the time period that you're in right now and the opportunity that is right in front of your face right now. This is why I got in it. This is why I recognized it. This is it right here. When I was a financial advisor, I remember it like it was yesterday. They would have IPOs that the company that I was with had helped to underwrite, and a lot of times they were underwriting them jointly with several other firms. But what would happen is the brokerage firm that was doing the underwriting, and I always thought it was such a conflict of interest, but that's not really what this is about. The idea that an investment bank would underwrite an IPO, and then they would get their brokerage wing to sell that IPO to their clients. I always thought that was a conflict of interest, but that's not what I'm talking about here. But the way it works is, let's say Morgan Stanley, for instance, is underwriting an IPO for Facebook as an example. Well, what Morgan Stanley would then do with their brokerage wing is they would go to the brokerage side and they would get their financial advisors to initially go to the wealthiest clients that they have and let them have the opportunity to be involved in the IPO on the ground floor. In other words, they would be able to invest. If they had a certain amount of assets, they would be able to invest before that stock was released on Wall Street. So, that's a no-brainer. The idea is, if you're wealthy, then you can participate in something that the average Joe retailers that are logging on their E-Trade account and buying Facebook once it hits the market, the wealthy people have already made their money. Well, guess what digital assets represent to you and to me? They call them, now these investors, the wealthy investors, they can be called accredited investors, they can be called qualified investors. I'll give you an example right here. The way that they, on TD Ameritrade, they say their eligibility requirements, each account being registered must have a value of at least $250,000. So you have to be worth $250,000 just to have the opportunity to invest in an IPO through TD Ameritrade. Well, so this is where this is where I want to explain to you how this applies to digital assets. Here you are. You have the opportunity. This is the first time that I know of in history where the average Joe sitting behind his computer, average Joe investor, has been able to seize on an opportunity to buy digital assets. Not only before the average Joe investor, really it's kind of happened in reverse, where we've been able to invest before the institutions and the accredited investors even get their shot at it. But what's going to happen in this scenario is twofold. It's even better than being able to get an IPO, and here's why. Really, the only people that are in this right now, I mean, I see people to this day on Facebook who are asking how they can buy digital assets. I see it to this day. And my point is that really the only investors right now are a combination of people that are real into computers and a combination of people who just heard about digital assets and just started investigating it and were curious. But average Joe investor is not even here yet. And so you've got a combination of maybe you'd call us computer nerds that started really early and found out about this, or just curious people. You've got a very small segment. And then you have institutions and Wall Street's accredited investors that are gearing up to get involved in this, and then they're going to release it to the public. And so it's a double whammy. And so it really, in my opinion, if you've ever watched one of my videos, if you've ever sent one of my videos to a friend of yours, if you've ever subscribed, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have ever shared one of my videos, this is the one to share. And if you've never hit the like button, then hit it now, because this right here, I really, when I was jogging, I was like, I can't believe I've never told my audience about what this is really all about and why it's so freaking huge. Thank you for listening. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor, not a financial advisor now, but I hope you all listen to this one because it is worth your time. Thank you for listening.